Hello. Hello. Hi, Kapil.
Hi. Good morning.
You hear
How are
me?
you? Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, we have.
Can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Gordon.
Yes.
Hi, Gordon.
Good morning.
Welcome, brother.
Okay, I'm on my phone.
Hi, Kapil. Hi, Gordon. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Taoufik.
Hello, Gordon.
Okay, we're almost
Hi,
ready to
Lynn,
rock and
ma'am.
roll. Hi, Kapil. You ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay.
Tell
Lynn
me
will
when
wait.
Leah gets here. Vicky is on her way because she's changing Gabby, which will be here in a
Okay.
minute.
Okay.
And so, Leah, the second speaker, she will be here in a short while.
We hope.
And yeah, we expect others to join, but if they don't join, that's
They're
fine.
joining.
We're doing
Yeah, we'll
this.
start it.
Yeah, we're doing this to help people have a good living. That's it. We are no intention to make any other benefit, but just make a living for people who are in need. And Kapil will share a PowerPoint. He's a great speaker. Then Leah, then I am here to host everything to make it technically good. So I will let Lynn Rosen hated this. Yeah, your mom,
Okay.
Kapil. Okay,
Yeah.
so once Leah will join, you can start dealing.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll wait till that time.
Go to Topper.
Hello there, Taoufik. How are
Thank
you?
you for being here, brother.
My pleasure.
Good. I'm
Okay.
happy to see Gordon here too.
Okay.
Okay. We have
Mr.
a
Gordon
lot
is
of
from
topics.
which country?
I'm from
Mr.
Jamaica.
Go
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Jamaica, originally.
Jamaica. Oh, nice.
I've
Wonderful.
been in the United States for over 40 years.
Oh, okay. That's a long time.
Years, actually.
Yeah.
I
Well,
want you to
years
know
on
that
it.
I knew Kapil for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So Kapil comes from India. He's from Vinod's country.
Yes.
So it's wonderful to have him with us. I was one of his mentors. So I'm super, super proud of him.
Thank you.
Is Kapil calling from India or United States?
No, I'm calling from India, Pune, which is at the western part of India.
I'm very upset that your cricket team just defeated the West Indies. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Priyanka will be here, dear Kapil. Your
Yes,
wife.
in about 10 minutes time, she will be logging in.
Good.
She is trying to log in from a different device. So we
Okay.
both can be at
We're
the
doing the same thing. We never come
Yeah.
on the same device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the
He
way,
talks too
Priyanka.
loud for me. I can't stand when he talks too loud.
Yeah. By the way, Priyanka is a pet telepathy specialist.
Yeah.
And we last week we have her as our main guest, and she presented a workshop concerning pet telepathy stuff. She was wonderful, and she talked about how to be a good communicator with animals in general. And she's a wonderful lady working together with Kapil, and they are human, helping people in India and all over the world. Great couple.
They certainly are.
Thank you.
And
She
they're
will be
beautiful
very.
to look at too.
Yeah. I'm waiting
Thank
for
you.
Leah to join.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't want to start without Leah and without Vicky,
Sure.
and then I'm going to start right
Yeah,
away.
she's a main speaker too. Yeah, I'm trying to call her to WhatsApp. She's there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once she comes, we're ready. I'm not waiting for anyone.
Okay. I'm reading a message from her on WhatsApp. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Mhm.
How did your UN meeting go, Gordon?
Mr. Gordon, you are not audible. You're on mute.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay. How was the meeting? How was the UN meeting?
It went very well. Stephanie told you that. It went very well. Everyone, I think, enjoyed it. We had new partners this year. It was a very good event. We had Swami from the Vedanta Center in Boston. He represented the Hindu group. We had the actress theater, the rabbi. We had representatives from the
Joined the meeting.
Archbishop from the Holy See, and we had Baha'i International. We had Universalists. We had everybody. We had the Muslim group there, and it was sponsored by Canada, Sierra Leone, Morocco, and wow, South Africa.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Okay, Taoufik, is Leah here?
She will be here. Now she's
Okay.
there.
Okay,
There is one login, but I'm not able to see any name.
either am I. That's Leah.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
He will speak on the phone, okay? I'm
Okay.
taking care of everything, dear Kapil. Just who will speak first? Lynn?
I am speaking. Are we
Okay.
ready?
I will mute everyone. Hello, Leah. So we can have a good quality voice here, okay?
Okay, start
So
muting.
muting. Okay.
Except for
Yes.
me. Don't mute me when I'm speaking.
Yeah, sure.
He would like to mute me when I'm speaking. He would love that.
Oh no. Okay, go ahead. The
Okay. Is Vicky here yet? Is Vicky here?
I guess this is Vicky on the phone. Okay, yes.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to start by talking a little bit, and Tofi, you can shoot the pictures. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about a subject that is very near and dear to my heart. It's a very passionate subject, but it got a lot more passionate in my life a few months ago. Well, I should say 5 years ago, when I got involved because my friend asked me to help her daughter. And eventually the daughter wound up being homeless, not because my friend didn't want her, but because she went through her own things. What we forget that the homeless are not on the park bench because they want to be there, because they want to feed off welfare. They're there because they can't help it. Maybe they're sick. Maybe they lost a job. Maybe something else happened. So I'm going to first read my poem, and then we're going to talk many ways that we could help in the homeless fight. So this is my poem. I call it I Am Somebody, and I'm in parentheses, it's called Kay's Song. I am somebody. My clothes may look tattered and not in style. Food I haven't eaten for a while, yet you find me repulsive and sick. This is not the life I depict. I am somebody. I am human just like you. A run of bad luck has me tired and blue. No money for clothes for a job interview. Is that the way you want to live? I don't think so, do you? I am somebody. No one can feel my pain. There is no shelter from the rain. I depend on the soup kitchen to eat. There is no menu. There is no sweet treat. Yet I'm grateful for any meal. A cup of soup is a big deal. I am somebody. Look into my sad eyes. I am not at a costume party wearing a disguise, just a lost soul wandering aimlessly, trying to be who I have to be. I am somebody. Now, that was my song. And I always told myself when I was counseling that I was never, ever going to get personal with my patients. And I tell you the honest to goodness truth. Up till the time I met this wonderful girl, I see her as wonderful. I know she has a lot of problems. She just dragged me into her life. And I just loved her so much that I couldn't help it. So another poem, and then the actual lecture that I'm giving. Shop till you drop. The streets seem mighty quiet today. It was only a sigh of dismay. He lays on his park bench trying to sleep. His heart is so heavy, his troubles are deep. Yet we go from store to store, spend money aimlessly. Shopping is our core, waiting online to purchase this or that. He is just waking up. On his bench he sat. He sat there while we went to lunch, feeling so hungry as we eat our brunch. Do we think about that poor young man? When will we begin to understand that homelessness is a disease of a poor society, one that doesn't care about you and it doesn't care about me? Take a minute, my friend, to think, what would happen if you were about to sing? Would you expect that person carrying bags filled with things to stop and give you a morsel or a happier song to sing? When you feel your life is over, you have nothing to look forward to. Wouldn't you want to help comfort him, to help comfort you? When you are homeless, your life does not stop. There is no energy, but you shop till you drop. Help the homeless. The last poem, and then solutions for the homeless. And here we go. This is my favorite poem. This is, I was talking to a man on a park bench, it must have been about 2 years ago, and a really, really nice guy. He was once a lawyer. First, I thought, you think that everybody gives you a story that's not true, but he really was a lawyer, and a lot of things went wrong. He lost his job. He was sued. He had no money. He wound up on a park bench. And it took forever to get him into a shelter. I finally did. So this poem is dedicated to him. It's called The Homeless Hotel. When the homeless have nowhere to go, they flock to the subway station. Sleeping as everyone's conversation does flow. People try not to look at their face, avoiding their stench. They are society's disgrace. The homeless hotel. Although the myth is that they are all mentally ill, some of them are just lost souls, left to fend for themselves, like an archived book taken off the shelf. The homeless hotel. When you see him sleeping on the bench, stop sneering. They have no house. They have no fence. They're lost and filled with despair, wondering how did they get there? The homeless hotel. Do you think they want the train to be their place to live, to face disgrace? In 20-degree weather, they have to stay indoors, feel their pain, hear them roar. Realize, please do. Someday the homeless person checking into the hotel might be you, the homeless. Now, a lot of these poems, the purpose is basically to wake up society and to tell them, get out there and help, but some people don't know how to help. So when I opened Lynn's Kids, and especially Saving Souls, I wanted to do different projects that would help. Am I just reading this poetry to you and exciting you and making you feel, am I doing enough? Is not my goal. My goal is to show you other ways that might help you to do more. And may I say that last week, I got very involved, and I'll speak to Mr. Gordon about this separately. I got very involved with a place, it's called Sisters of Ascension up in Harlem. So now, once I started talking to them, because now I'm only working 4 days a week, and I might be like 4 days is not enough. Maybe I need 12, I decided I'm giving workshops for parents. I wound up getting myself to give workshops for parents, doing workshops with children, especially getting children out to do the projects I'm going to discuss with you. So let me talk to you about some things that you can do, sitting home, on your couch, comfy. These are the things that you can do. My first favorite project, here you see I am at a school, working with the children, trying to teach them outreach. And a project that came out of that is my favorite project in the world. And some of you who know me know that I do this project. And it's called From Seed to Soup Kitchen. I created the project. I wrote a book about it. And what we do is we get teenagers or kids of any age, and here I am. We plant seeds that are either fruits or vegetables. We take those seeds. Once we plant them, we nourish them, we nurture them, we do whatever we can to them. I even had the kids talking to them, so you can just imagine. They're almost as crazy as I am. When the seeds are ready, they take them out, we wash them off, we bag them, and we take them to a local soup kitchen or food pantry. Let me tell you, the expressions on their faces when they're going to either a soup kitchen or a food pantry that they are giving to the poor. Some of them were poor. The point is that they get a feeling like, yeah, there is something I can do. Because I know some of us on this phone are better off than others on this call, and some of us are not. But the point is, it's always something we can do to help somebody else. So that's my favorite project. If you need anything or to find out how to start it, if you're a teacher, that's a perfect project for you. Here they are. They're planting in IS 82 in Brooklyn. I had them planting in 2 bridges. The picture where you see me, the first picture, I had them planting in 2 bridges in Manhattan. I've done this in every single borough. That the idea of that was absolutely, I mean, the kids actually got to give back, and we're living in a very Me Too society where everything is about me. My friend Vicky and I were talking about that the other night. Everything is about me. I'm important. What about the other guy? The other guy is important too. And that's the point. No matter how bad off we are, how well off we are, I think we need to step back and we need to start helping people. So this can be done with children. It can be done singularly. You don't need a class to do this. You can do it with your grandchildren. So From Seeds to Soup Kitchen is a wonderful thing. My next favorite project, and I did this with my grandson when he was little, and I did it in my school, PS 135. It's called T-Shirts for Hunger. What we did is to, of course, I spent money. I bought all the T-shirts. I went to this place that felt sorry for me, so they gave me a discount. I got fabric paints, and we put words about poverty on a T-shirt. You don't need a classroom. You can do this with regular students from anywhere. You can do this with your grandchildren. And what we did is we sold the T-shirts at a PTA meeting. I lucked out because I happened to have a representative from the New York Food Bank there. And he said to me, you're not going to make more than $200. But anybody who knows Lynn, especially Gordon Tapper, knows that you never challenge Lynn. And we had parents that were sitting there that were divorced. So there was mothers on one side, fathers on the other side. And when the children held up, we sold like maybe 400, 500 T-shirts. When they held up their T-shirt, the mother bid against the father. By the end of the night, I made $689. He said he never saw anything like that. I said, first of all, don't set a goal, because kids, just the kids getting up there, they all had to read a poem that they wrote about hunger. And even if you have grandchildren, you could talk to them about poverty, have them sell the T-shirts, have them sell them on the side of the road like Asma from Oman did, and Fatam from Oman did, when their students made T-shirts. Sell them. The money you get, we gave to the food bank, but there are so many other charities you can give it to. The important thing is to show them that every cause, whatever you make goes to that cause and makes them feel good inside. There's another way to do this. And my daughter Fatam did, says Oman, you could have school supply drive. And what you do is you collect school supplies, and she did backpacks, and she filled them with things that children need. And she gave them to poor children who could not afford for their parents. And you know how competitive it is. We don't think about it. But when children go to school, we don't realize that very often it's peer pressure. You see somebody walking in with a Burberry backpack, and then you see somebody walking in with a torn backpack. There is pressure. So what she did, which I thought was brilliant, was she put enough stuff in different, they all look the same, and they were all cute, different colors. And the children who could not afford backpacks got to pick a backpack, and then everybody wanted the same backpack. But the point is, instead of just collecting money, she collected money from teachers, she collected money from local businesses, she went from store to store, and the money that she got, she used to put backpacks together for the kids. We also do bake sales, and you don't need a classroom for that. You bake, you sell your stuff, and whatever money you get, you give to whatever charity you want. And a thing that I did, and I did this with my grandson, it was called the Hunger Problem Jar. He would explore, we would go on research, whether it was Google or Bing, whatever it was. And every time we saw another problem in the world, we would put it in the jar. And at the end, we would decide what problem we wanted to solve. So the reason I'm bringing this up, because this is just wonderful. What he decided on is that he wanted to help poor people in Africa and in India get food. So there was a site, I think it's still in existence, called Rice for the World. Now, Rice for the World is a project where every time you click, you can do this with a little kid. Every time they click, and you don't have to leave your house to do charity. Every time they click, somebody in India gets a certain share of rice. So if you're clicking 10 times, they're getting more. And every day we used to click, you were allowed to click 4 times a day. So he clicked 4 times and I clicked 4 times. That was his one way, without being in a classroom, of collecting. And I have so many other projects. I'm just going to try, because we have 2 other wonderful speakers. It's called a hunger banquet. Now, since my friend Vicky doesn't know how to cook, so I'll tell you how you do it, Vicky, without cooking, okay?
He's there on the phone. She's listening.
I know. I wanted her to hear it. Vicky, we can make a hunger banquet by doing things differently. We prepare easy, simple things. And everybody, whether it's your granddaughter or your grandson or anybody, everybody brings a dish, and you take that dish and you get neighbors and you get other people involved. I did it with the school, so that's different. You take the dish and you bring it to soup kitchen, a food pantry, and believe me, they love to get anything that you have. So the hunger banquet was a really, really great thing for me. And another way that you can do it is if you're alone and you don't want to do all these things, it's too tired, maybe you can't move, maybe you're exhausted, maybe you're getting older, whatever. The way that you can do this is sponsor a child. It's very easy. If you have a classroom, the children chip in. We sponsored 4 children, 2 from Africa and 1 from, believe it or not, Washington, D.C., and 1 from, I think it was Tennessee. So we collected money from parents and teachers and we sponsored them. So, and he just flipped out and he showed the Mother Teresa. You can be showing all my pictures now, Taoufik, because I'm coming to the end. So you can do this at home by yourself. To me, the best thing that I do as a person is that I run around like a crazy person. And yes, I'm like this place in Harlem, I can't talk about it enough. They have a thrift shop. They have a child center, after school center, where I volunteer. I would say work, but work is something you get a paycheck for. And they have the thrift shop, they have the after school center, and they have which is my favorite, the health center in the back. Nobody pays for anything. Anyone in the neighborhood can come in, sponsored by the Harlem Renaissance and the Harlem Renovation thing. I go into Harlem, other people are afraid to go in. To me, it's like, shows you where my life is. To me, it's like nirvana, because when I see what these people are doing for their people, it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to me. He's showing you the pictures. That's the thrift shop. That's the thrift shop. You go in, you pick what you want, and people like me can come in and donate, and we can buy things so that they have more money to put out more stuff, and that's what we did. And believe me, the clothing wasn't bad. I actually wear it in the house. So it's just an absolutely amazing area. So before I close, I just want to say that everything that I've just told you practically is something you can do from your house. Or better still, how about just opening your ears and listening to somebody who has a problem, even if they're not poor. Maybe they're rich and they have a problem. If you open your heart to a stranger or a friend, God hears you. And in the end, you have to answer to God. You don't have to answer to anybody else. I answer to God every single day. Every time I go to a new project, I say, oh God, why did you send me here? When I had cancer, it took me like 2.5 years to get over it, even though the cancer itself lasted for a year. I made a deal with God. You know, we all make deals with God. My deal was, first of all, to help a very special girl who was a very dear part of that's the same girl I read that poem for. My other deal was, if you make me well, I will counsel anybody who needs counseling. And I'll go to any project you want. But of course, I don't know how to control myself. There's no filter when it comes to Lynn. And I can hear people that know me that are laughing right now. I'm telling you that the things I do, I get more from them than I give to them. Because when you go into a place like this Harlem Sisters Ascension, and you go into a place like Two Bridges where I work, and you go into a place like PS 140 or IS62, and you do projects and you get dirty, it's time to get your pearly white hands out and get dirty. I don't care what anybody thinks. When you get dirty, you understand the meaning of what giving is all about. Just taking money out of your wallet, it's very good. It does help in a lot of different ways. It's not the same thing as getting down in the dirt, getting dirty, and showing people how much you care. You can use your hands, you can use your ears just to listen. A friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine who I love, turning out to be one of my very good friends, said to me, I think I'm overburdening you. I think I make you listen too often. Never, ever, ever. God gave me, and this is their the wagon of the place that I was talking about. God gave me the power to listen to people. And you know what? When I listen to somebody who needs help, I feel good because maybe I can help them for a minute. Maybe someday they'll need to listen to me. The point is, we have to, instead of we are living in a very corrupt society where it seems to me that the rich are getting richer and the poor are staying the same. Our society is terrible. I'm not even going to go through issues like anti-Semitism. I can't even deal with it, or Black Lives Matter, or this one or that one. What I am going to say is we're all human. God put us in this world to help each other. We are, and here's a volunteer signing into the whole thing. We are here to open our hearts. We are here to open our souls. And more than anything, we're here to share the love. If we're sitting in a cushy house and we do nothing to help other people, that makes us a terrible person. A man, I don't think he's here, but I know a member of his family is here. A man who I know and love in my own way was, when I had problems with cancer, was the most giving, wonderful person in the world. Never refused to take any money back. Never asked for anything. I call him a man of God. That's the point. If you don't have the money to give the thoughts. Open your ears. Lend an ear. Help somebody. There are never too many hours in the day. There are never, you can't turn your back on anybody, because as I end almost every single poem, I say, remember, please, please do. Someday that homeless person could be you. And that to me is more important than anything else. We need to think about that homeless person. We need to think about the person we need to think about the person who just can't get up. Maybe they're in pain. I'm going to leave you, since I said enough already, I'm going to leave you with one parting poem. Have you seen them? Have you seen them sitting on the ground? They don't look up. You can only hear a moaning sound. Society has put them there. Yet so many of us don't seem to care. When did we become so cold? Don't they have a story to be told? Often the homeless sleep in a car. They have no gas. They can't go far. Can you imagine living like this? Where is our compassion? When will they find bliss? Can you open your wallet, open your heart, get together to give them a better start? Never forgetting what they are going through. It's the time to do what we need to do. Give them a smile, an encouraging word too. Remember, it could happen to any one of us. Next time, it might be you. Have you seen them? And before I close, I just want to say, I want to thank that I don't do this enough. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to try not to be emotional. I would like to thank my husband, Taoufik Siddiqui, and I'll tell you why. Not for your usual torturing me during the day when you ask me or follow me around. Okay, he thinks he's Cecil B. DeMille. He follows me around with a camera. But for his heart that is bigger than anyone else's in the world, for his videography, which I think excels, for his kindness, for his putting together these presentations. And between Leah and Lynn, there's always a problem, but I know she's laughing even if I can't hear. He's just amazing how he gets through these things. And if I were to ask God to pick the perfect man for me, despite your craziness, he would pick you because you have the heart that is as big as Texas. You care about people. You are the most, he's a very talented writer. He is an amazing person in general. Anybody who knows him knows that. He thinks he's a Hollywood director, so, you know, with the camera, and we have to do this perfectly, and his work is all perfect, but more importantly, he is the nicest, sweetest, most wonderful, most capable person I know. Without you, I would be nothing. So I had to say that, because what you did is you listened to me. I'm not an easy person to live with. Do not laugh, Vicky. I am not an easy person to live with because I am a little bit work obsessed. So he works in a Moroccan minute, which takes him like 3 hours. And I work in a New York minute, which takes me 2 seconds. So sometimes it doesn't merge well, but he follows me around. He does whatever I ask him to do. More importantly, he has the biggest heart that I know. He has compassion for everyone and everything. So I want to tell you how proud I am of the videos that you've done, how much I love you, and how much you mean to me. Thank you.
Same here. Love you more.
Okay, so now we have a treat. And Lynn can be quiet for a while. We're going to go next to, and Lynn and Leah drive my husband Taoufik crazy. That's okay. You can mute me now after I finish the sentence. Right now, I'm going to introduce you to my son from India. I have like 150 kids. It doesn't matter. They're all wonderful. And my son is Mr. Kapil Joshi. So take it away, Kapil.
Go ahead, Kapil. The stage is yours.
Yeah, hi, hello, everyone. That was a wonderful presentation, Lynn ma'am, and beautiful lines. Loved it. So yeah, I'll just share my screen to begin with. There's a PowerPoint presentation.
Sure. Go ahead. Good job. You're ready.
Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. So a very hello everyone. Good morning, USA, and I think good evening, UK. Before I begin with my presentation, what I want to share is the objective of this presentation. This presentation is mainly to highlight the issues and the challenges that India faces on the problem of hunger, and followed by possible alternatives and solutions that can be worked out. And I also want to take this opportunity to invite suggestions from all of you that what could be ways and means where we are struggling to help fight the hunger in India. So before I begin the presentation, I just want to understand anybody from you who have visited India at any point of time?
Not yet.
Not yet. Mr. Gordon, Leah, Vicky.
No, I haven't. I would love to go.
Yes, I'm unmuting everyone. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would love to go someday. Maybe my rich son will send me a plane ticket and I will go.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
We would definitely love to have you here.
Yeah.
Hope so it will happen. That's my wife, Priyanka, speaking right now.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Priyanka. She gave
Hello.
a wonderful workshop last week. Okay.
So,
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kapil said, is everyone visiting India before? You are unmuted. You can comment, okay?
Yeah.
Ask the question again, dear Kapil. Ask it again.
Yeah. So I was just asking everyone that any one of you who have visited India before, what was the first glimpse? What was the experience? Quick, any glimpse of hunger or poverty that you saw? Any issues that you could sense? Just want to hear from you all. If anyone have visited, we will obviously be sharing it. But if any one of you, then please do share.
Well, I've never witnessed it. I've never been to India. My great-grandmother came from India. One of my great-grandmothers came from India. But I'm very familiar with the situation and the condition in India in terms of poverty.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I
Any,
think that's everybody who has been to India, because we haven't. I'd love to.
yes. Okay, so I'll start with the next slide. So basically, if you see this map will give you a bird's eye view of the status of the hunger problem in India, where in the central part of the country, if you could see, it is the center point wherein more than 30% of the population is affected by hunger or malnutrition. And then there are other states. There's also a state of Maharashtra where we stay, where me and my wife stay. That is also coming close to the top 10 states in India which are stricken by hunger and malnutrition issues. So a very important point I want to make is that in India, there will not be any death purely due to starvation. It may come as a surprise to you, but death due to an absolute starvation is very negligible in India, is not at all a phenomenon in India. But what is a main issue in India is that of malnutrition. And when I say malnutrition, there are many issues that comes with malnutrition. There are cultural issues, there are geographical issues, there are healthcare issues, there is lack of education and awareness, there's lack of employment opportunities. So all of these issues add to the malnutrition, and consequently, the deaths due to malnutrition, especially for children below the age of 5 years, is nearly more than 5,000 per day, which totals about more than 1.5 lakhs per year. Are the deaths for the children who are below 5 years of age. They experience this because of inadequate of nutrition. And then there are a number of reasons for that, which obviously we will go through it in my next slide. So India is very rich in agriculture. They have a lot of natural resources. There's a lot of food which is available. So if I do a pure maths, that is the total food percentage that is available and the total mouths in India, then there's surplus of food which is available in India. But the issue is of distribution and access to that food is the main issue, and not exactly the starvation is actually issue in India. Now going ahead, as I said, when I talk about malnutrition, it is not just that people are not aware about the nutrition, but there are a number of issues which coincides with each other and add up and aggravate the issue of malnutrition. They are healthcare services. Even though urban cities, metropolitan cities in India, that is Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, you must have heard this name. They have adequate medical facilities, they have hospitals, they have healthcare workers. But if you go to the rural India, where almost 70% of population lives in rural India, they do not have a proper healthcare access. I come from a rural background. My parents, my father and my mother, they still stay at my hometown, which is relatively less urban, relatively more of a rural area, and they do not have a proper medical facility. When my father was critical because of the COVID infection last year, there was no medical facilities that was available. I had to bring him to Pune, where I stay, and then bringing him in that critical condition from a mobile ambulance. Fortunately, I had the resources, I had the contact at that time, which helped me to bring my father at the right point of time to the city where I'm working and give him that medical aid and facility. And God willing, he is fine now and he's doing good. But these are the issues that rural India face. There are no adequate doctors to the number of people who stay in the rural India. That proportion is also not very equal. So there is one doctor for more than 1,000 people, which is practically insane. A doctor cannot treat 1,000 patients, if you do that pure maths. So these are the issues. People in rural India are accustomed to unhygienic conditions. They defecate in open areas. There is lack of nutrition, lack of education. Then there are also cultural issues. Most of the people in India get married very early, especially girls and women who get married at a very tender age of 16, 17 or 18 Although the legal age in India to get married is 18, but there are instances when the girls get married at 17 and they have early pregnancies. They do not have access to proper nutrition. They are themselves not aware how to take care of their bodies during pregnancies. And that in turn affects the development of the child and results in child mortality and children below the age of 5 years suffering due to malnutrition and eventually succumbing to the malnutrition issue. So there are n number of issues. India is a vast country with, as there are number of people, number of cultures, religions, there are also number of problems that we have, which also means we have many opportunities to work on, but there are also problems that we have. Another very important issue, which I think is required to be highlighted and never spoken of, because when we say of hunger, when we say of malnutrition, we just feel that the core issue is perhaps only a food shortage, or the core issue is food accessibility. But the recent years development in India is that every year there are at least 3 or 4 states in India who are severely hit by climate change. So it might be a cyclone, it might be floods, it might be heat waves, or any climatic changes that devastate that entire community or that entire region. 1 year ago, that is before 2020, my hometown was struck by the cyclonic waves, and my family, my parents, my extended family who stay in Alibag, they are primarily dependent on agriculture. So when there is a drastic climatic change or as simple change as unexpected rainfall, it destroys the vegetation, it destroys the cultivation there, and that's the only resource that they have. And there is no backup financing or funding which is available to cope up with this sudden change that is thrown at you through climatic changes, which again adds to a financial crisis, again adds to inadequate health care facilities, and again adds to inadequate nutrition. So these are the things that keeps the issue of malnutrition at a very high rate in India, despite of many efforts by the government and many like-minded NGO groups as well. So as I stated in my earlier part of presentation, if I say, is there a food shortage in India? No, there is no food shortage in India. There's absolutely no food shortage in India. India is a self-sufficient country in terms of vegetation and agriculture. But you will be surprised to know that there are about 40% of the food that gets wasted every year. A very simple, a very micro example, if I have to give you, that example would be Indian weddings. If you attend an Indian wedding, you will realize that there are at least about 500 guests on an average every Indian wedding invites. And that adds to about 10 to 20% of food wastages in each marriage, in each wedding. Just a wild guess, I want to throw a question to everyone. What is your guess? How many people get married in India per year? Per year. Total Indian weddings happening in a year.
I would say 100.
In a year, entire country.
Yeah.
No, it's a huge number. It's a huge number.
Million. 10 million?
Sorry,
Over a
10
million.
million.
who said 10 million?
Leah.
Yeah, that's 10 million. That's the correct number.
Oh my God.
10 million people every
But
year
there is
in
one
India
point.
get married. And
There
at
is one
least,
point is that we should know
Yeah.
that India has more than 1 billion citizens. So if you make
yes,
Wow.
the comparison with other countries' citizens, 10 million from more than 1 billion is not a big number. So I just want to mention that. Kapil, go ahead.
yes, that's correct.
Sounds big to me.
So when I
Yeah.
say 10 million Indian weddings, at least 9 million of them, or even more than that actually,
Yeah.
they have a very pompous and a very celebratory wedding that is happening. So on an average, more than 200 guests and a wastage of food of 20%, which is the major component of food wastage of the total country that we face. So this is just one example I just wanted to give you. The other important reason of the food wastage is that when there is a food produce in rural India, say suppose, I'll give you an example. There are about 100 kgs of rice, which is cultivated by a particular farmer. Then he doesn't have a proper facility of storage with him. So due to the lack of storage and warehousing, his 40% of produce is wasted. Second important thing is he doesn't have adequate access to transportation. Transportation is very expensive in India. Petrol prices, oil prices are very high in India. And therefore, not every farmer affords transporting his produce from his farmland to the actual marketplace. And due to that, his produce is wasted every year, year after year. And it is a very sorry state of affair that a farmer who is cultivating his land for the entire year with his family is not able to feed himself adequately. That's just a sorry state of affair in India, unfortunately. But yes, there's a large number percentage of there are also farmers who are very rich. There are very rich farmers in India. But there is also a very big percentage of farmers who are even not able to feed their families when actually they are cultivating. They don't know the market, they don't know the business, they don't have the business acumen to make their produce reach the actual markets. So what government is doing? So the immediate thing, if one would think of, if there are so many problems in India, what the government is doing. So India has a lot of problems, but if I do a comparison, when we got our independence in 1947, and if I compare that with 2021, India definitely has come a long way. The literacy percentage at that point of time was 3%, and now it is averagely about 60% that is coming in most of the cities. There are improvements, there are developments. The standard of living has improved, the GDP has improved, all of the figures are promising. There are schemes which are available. Now, for example, the Child Development Services Scheme, the Indira Gandhi Matratva Sahyog Scheme, the National Nutritional Policy, which provides free food, then subsidized ration to the people so that they have access to the regular food. One surprising thing is that right to food was not a constitutional right up until 2010. So that was a very long journey, but thanks to the lawyer fraternities and the efforts of different NGOs, like Lynn ma'am is working on in her country and worldwide. So there are many NGOs who are working in the country, and they came together in 2001 to make the right to food as a constitutional human right. And through that, it paved way to the National Food Security Act. So because of that, now we have a proper organization, we have a proper structure in India, and support systems which are available, midday meal schemes are available. So the children who are school-going children, free education is available, food is given to them on a regular basis, at least one meal is sponsored by the government. All of these things are there. But still the problem is there. The answer is people are not aware. People do not know that these schemes exist. These schemes don't reach to the actual needy people. Obviously, there is some level of corruption that is involved. There's lack of awareness that is involved. So these are the problems. So there has to be a match between government facilities and schemes which are available and the awareness and the reach of the actual needy people to these government schemes. So if these two things can be brought together, then I think the goal of the government of India, which is to have zero hunger by 2030, that can be achieved. So at my level, if I have to think, how do I implement this or how do I start with this? During my college years, I was working with Lynn and we were working in the Feeding Minds and Fighting Hunger projects. I was very active in my college years, visiting the community houses, doorstep schools, and the underprivileged areas in the city where I live in. And we used to have regular food donation camps. We used to have awareness programs in our colleges. We used to have projects. We used to write poems. Lynn Rosen was our mentor. She still is my mentor. That continues. So I was very active, but then I started my professional life. I had to work. I had to bring food for my family. So I was doing it, but I was doing it at a very micro level. I was doing it one person at a time. Maybe for a year, I would adopt one child for the entire year, where I would sponsor his education. Or my wife, who is an animal enthusiast, she is very actively involved in feeding stray dogs and stray cats, and she does it on a regular basis and does it 365 days. She's better at that, better than me. And I'm involved at a very micro level. But now with mentorship and the inspiration that I have got from Lean Man, I'm planning to start this project, Feeding Minds and Fighting Hunger, again in India. And as a matter of first step, I will start writing, creating awareness, writing blogs on Facebook pages. That would be my first step. I would be doing it. But the challenge that I see, and I invite everyone's suggestion to that, is that India is a very competitive market. There is a lot of competition. When I say I want to involve college-going students, when I want to involve school-going children, they have, you would not, I don't know how does the education system in USA or UK works out, but here a school-going kid, and I'll tell you, at the tender age of 6 years or 7 years, is actually having a school of about 6 hours, is having extra tuitions for about 2 hours. He has weekly exams to cater to. That kid has another competitive exams so that he gets some scholarship and he gets some more, a better place in his school for the opportunities, so that he excels well in his education, so that the ultimate goal is so that you excel good in education, so that you get a good job or a good placement at the end of your academic career. So that pressure, and by the parents, by the families, and by the kid himself on his own expectations from himself is so high that if I post something, if I write something, even if I visit a college or school, I do get good response. People appreciate for the work that we do. But the real challenge is there is no continuity from the people that I receive. And the main reason for people not being active, not participating, not volunteering is because they have a very demanding academic career.
Okay.
Even in the professional life, average working hour in India at least is 65 plus hours per week, which is about 12 hours per day.
Wow.
So that's an average working hours. So we have a law which says 8 hours, 9 hours, 1 hour of lunch break, etc. All of those things are there. But the competition is so high, the labor is so cheap. So nobody would afford to say that, hey, it's 8 hours already. I'm shutting down and I'm going. I'm not working anymore. I have my personal goals to achieve. No, I won't do that. Nobody has guts. Nobody has capacity to come ahead and say that I will not work beyond 9 hours. So people are made to work crazy. People are working for 12 hours, 13 hours, and they do not have any time left to pursue their personal goals, personal passions, or any social activities. So the question that I come to is, what is the incentive? Now, I'm not targeting a working person because I know what challenges a working person face. I'm sure I will never be able to get out of working professionals to come and join this project. But what I can do is, and I can see an opportunity there, because I was working when I was in college, that the college kids around 16 to 22 years of age, they may be interested to join this project. But if I just go there, give the 1 hour lecture, and I expect them to join me, I don't think they will be joining. Even if they join, they will join at only once, and then they will all disappear. And I do not want that to happen. So I invite your suggestions. How do you go about it in your countries, inviting college kids? What is that incentive? What is that drive that you give to those kids that make them to work on a continued basis. So now I open the floor for everyone to
Okay,
contribute.
Tofi, unmute us. Okay.
Okay.
I have something to say as usual. First of all, I have 3 teachers from Morocco who are trying to bridge the cultural gaps by working with people from India. And I can't seem to get schools. Now, if you could get us those colleges and they could work with even the schools from Morocco or even some schools from New York, possibly that would be a way, because it wouldn't just be an empty project. It would be cultural bridges, bridging the cultural gaps, where at the end you're giving them something. They send cultural boxes to each other. And if we got away, we could do it easily because Morocco is great. We get them to send the package to you first, to your country first, and your country sees this is really happening. This isn't just somebody telling me this is what's going to happen. We got it. And in the packages, they have clothing, like symbols of Moroccan clothing, food, a million different things that you can bring that will tell you about Morocco. And in India, also the same thing. You will send them packages having different things. And I think that by doing this, by exchanging, or maybe even something like this, you get the college kids to come on and come on something like this with us, this one time. And we give them inspiration by showing them some of these pictures, by showing them from Seed to Soup Kitchen, by showing them that I'm not just sitting here and talking. I am doing. There's a difference between doing and talking. There's a difference between reaching in your pocket and giving people money, or reaching in your heart and making them work for it.
Okay.
And once they have to work, they feel it. And I'm sure if they look at your beautiful wife, Priyanka, and your old mother, Lynn, that I would gladly lecture to any college and inspire them to, all you have to do is invite me online. Better still send me a ticket. I would inspire them to, I would inspire them to get out.
Lynn Rosen is on
Unmute
mute.
yourself, Lynn. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
And even when Kapil was young, he was really very serious. He didn't like fool around enough for me. You know, I'm a little crazy. But look what he turned into. And his wife is just the most giving, wonderful person. I mean, they spend their lives helping other people. So what do you get back when you spend your life helping other people? If you don't have money, you get back God. God shines upon you because you're taking the time to help others. You get back what Mother Teresa said. You get back what Martin Luther King said. And my favorite speech of his is ended with, "And what are you doing today to help others?" So Kapil, I take your challenge. If you invite them to a blog or something like this, I will gladly speak to them and try to inspire them like I obviously inspired you, or you wouldn't be here.
True.
That's a challenge. And especially the cultural packages. If you can find me 3 colleges, I have 3 wonderful teachers. Well, I need 3 classes. I have 3 wonderful teachers who are dying. I asked Mr. Vinod Badhanka to get me some people from India to, do this project with, but he's very, very busy. So if you can do this for me, I would be very thankful.
Yes. Okay.
That's
I'm
just
working
my
on it.
Yeah.
I'll start with one college at a time. Yeah, Leanna.
Wonderful.
Okay, Leah, go ahead.
I was just going to say here, and in the UK, one thing that goes in favor of getting students involved is actually the university itself, which can either, like locally, the university here has a climate change environmental degree. And as part of the degree, they actually keep an organic garden. And this organic, a lot of people say, well, you can't afford organic food. You can't. What they do is they are not. What the students did in this as part of their degree program is keep an organic garden, a very big one actually, and the produce from the garden was taken down to the food surplus place, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then they sell it for practically nothing, really. So it was actually available to anybody. If they couldn't afford it, they could have it. They can sign up to have a box of seasonal. It's all seasonal because people would say, well, climate change, we don't want to have things thrown into us from Brazil and so forth. What's the point? You eat organic, but it's coming from all over the place. But everything comes from this garden. And you can sign up and have a box, and anybody, regardless of their, like, it's sort of a pay, donate what you can. If you can't donate, then don't, you can have it free. So you get, every Tuesday, you get a box of these vegetables.
Sure.
And it's all seasonal and it's all local.
So that box comes from where? Who sends that box?
The students, the students do.
Oh,
As part of their organic garden project.
Oh, gosh.
They
Wonderful.
put the seeds in, they grow and tend it. This is all, they're getting actually credit for doing this. And that is an incentive, or they can volunteer. They also get volunteers. People love doing it, really. They keep a compost, and part of the local surplus keeps compost thing going. So they can then go to like the food surplus place, which gets, I would speak of in a second, but it gets stuff from grocery stores and so forth, from food banks, and then distributes it to people. If you can offer a donation, do. If you can't, don't. Just take what you need.
So now you have
so
suggestions, Kapil.
Yeah.
So that's one way. I don't know, it's actually getting the university through the, I don't know if you have it there, but do they have like a student union? The student union, if you don't have climate change or environmental degrees, would be to approach, at least somebody and say, is there any way that you could actually involve the students in this degree? I don't know if you have that kind of degree there or not, but if you do, or some kind of agricultural degree course, people can do it that way.
We do have an agricultural degree.
That's wonderful.
Another thing, do you have children's? I mean, do you have groups for like over Girl Guides, Boy Scout, Cubs, this type of thing? Do they have clubs that youth join? Because
Not many.
What they're trying to do here is start
student associations. We have student associations which actually only targets or only works on the student life on the campus.
Okay.
they don't get badges or anything like that. Like, I mean, say teenagers. Is there something for teenagers where they earn badges or they come to?
That can be incorporated. Excellent.
Well, that's how they're also involving these people. These, they've been approached by the activists, volunteer activists, and now they can earn a badge by working at the garden and helping to, the whole process from seed to vegetable. Then also cooking and recipes and so forth, and then offering that free. So people can get it free.
Now he has a lot of things to think about. Kapil, before you end your presentation, I have a question for you.
Yes.
In the very, very beginning, you said to me that not to me, to all of us, that you were lucky that you had the means to take your father to a different place and to be able to take it. What happens to those people who don't have the means?
Yeah.
It's all God. It lives in God.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Yes. I have a question before you leave, dear Kapil. You said what you said about education in India. But we know that India is considered as having a high level of education. The proof is that look at Indians around the world. You have minds, you have so thoughtful people, especially young, who are all over the world. Let me give you an example of US. in Silicon Valley, in many places,
Yeah.
Indian, scientists or Indian, especially young guys, are flourishing, are spreading with it. So my question is, what is the secret of this well education in India? There was something that we don't know, but especially I don't know. And you can answer my question: what is the secret, despite of this hard, economy or whatsoever you said? Why
Because
India? Yeah.
because the it's because of family pressure.
How do you-
Pressure to excel in your education. So
Wow.
the only way to change your situation in this country, when I was very young, my father always used to say, study well, otherwise you will live a life like me. Study
Wow.
well, study well, get a good job, get a good degree, or else you are suffering. So likewise, for many kids in India, families hover around them from a very young age to excel in studies. So you will find all students, the studying for crazy hours, and they do it very diligently and sincerely, because that's the only way to change your life. Because starting your business or getting into politics or getting into government jobs, these all things have their own limitations in my country. But what you can do is you can have a good degree, you can excel well in your college, and then perhaps get a job in Silicon Valley.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Who pays for these degrees?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's right. That's a good question.
Who pays
For your
the
education.
degrees for this person to go to college or university? Who is
So
paying?
parents. So
So
the one
if
good
you don't
point
have
is,
money, if you're in poverty,
so your school education mostly is free in India. So your school education up to the age of 14 is free. So most of the people do study till the 8th grade. I don't know what is the equivalent of that in UK or USA, but I'll say it, up to the age of 14, mostly the education is sponsored. The girls' education is free, entirely free up to the age of 16. Then there are a lot of subsidies which are available, but beyond that, the professional degrees, it's either parents or it's education loan or the scholarship. So these are the only three ways. And believe me or not, in educating the child, parents here do not hesitate to spend on their entire life savings.
Okay.
They want to make sure that their child, because fortunately we have a system of a joint family. So even though we stay apart, we are connected. So we support each other. So parents do expect that if I'm spending so much money on your education, you take up a good job and look after me in my old age.
Wonderful.
So that's an ecosystem that is available. Fortunately, that is there. But yeah, so if you're lucky and your parents are able to do that sacrifice for you, it's great. Or you have to have a very good mind so that you get good scholarships, or you have someone giving you an education loan. So these are the three ways to do that. And
Very
people who do
interesting.
not get either of three,
Wow.
then again, they unfortunately suffer.
and of course, not being malnourished in childhood is not going to lead to as healthy a brain, since a child is developing their brain until they're 25. And if the brain is not actually fed properly, if you start from poverty, you are more likely not to have a healthy brain.
Great.
Very true.
Which is-
Kapil, are you finished with your presentation, or do you have
Yes,
more?
just one small point I wanted to make. That is something. Oh yeah, sorry. Mr. Gordon was speaking something.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Very impressed with your presentation.
Oh, thank you.
Impressed with what you are doing, actually. And is this your work, or do you have an organization that you work with?
No, right now this is my work. I'm trying to get attached to an organization so that I can scale this to a substantial level.
Okay.
You pointed out that the infrastructure is there, the food is there, and the government programs are actually there in place too.
Yes.
That is getting the information to the people and getting them access to it. It is there. I imagine there's, as you said, there's a lot of waste and there's probably a lot of spoilage because it may be sitting someplace and nobody can get to it and vermin get there and it has to be thrown out, that sort of thing.
Yes.
I want to ask you, have you ever heard of Ricky Kedge?
Sorry?
Kedge.
Sorry, I did not get you.
Gordon, can you just come close to microphone? Thank you so
Yeah, I don't hear him either.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Ricky Kedge, an Indian musician?
Oh, he's talking about a musician.
But I,
Ricky Kedge.
no, I do not know this musician.
Okay. You're not hearing me okay. So I tell you, I'm going to change from my PC to my iPad. I just for a few moments.
That's fine.
I can hear you, Gordon. I can.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Kapil
We can
can't.
hear you now. Go ahead.
In and out. Well, Ricky Kedge is a Grammy Award winning Indian musician.
Okay.
He's an activist, poverty, climate change, and everything. Ricky
Wow.
did an event for me in February 2021.
Okay.
And we had over 400,000 persons who viewed it on Viacom CBS, BET Africa. It was a program directed to Africa.
Okay.
And our objective was to raise funds to purchase mobile clinics for the underserved communities in Africa.
Yes, well,
We actually had over 400,000 people in Africa who signed on, and close to 100,000 in the United States and Europe. Ricky Kedge.
Can you type his name in the search in
Yeah,
the chat box? Can you type his name?
I found that name just now on the internet. I'm posting
okay.
it.
Okay, go ahead.
Kedge is the name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I
so,
see.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a lot of
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, listen to Gordon because he knows what he's talking about.
Ricky does a lot of humanitarian work, and he's going to be in Houston in March on a program called One Earth. He will be
Oh, okay.
with other Indian performers and American performers. I believe one way of reaching the people, we're talking about here reaching college students of a certain age to be adult. We can also reach the masses by something that attracts them to either a television set or their cell, etc.
Exactly.
And if we can organize this sort of thing, I'm positive Ricky Kedge will do this if I ask him to do it. And having people like Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli and other people who will deliver messages, plus the graphics that you have on the screen, which is directly telling people where the services are, how they can connect with the services they need, I think it could be effective.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
You send me your PowerPoint, I will share it with you.
Oh, terrific.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you, Gordon.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
right now I want to thank my son Kapil for a wonderful presentation,
you.
but we're not finished. Don't turn
Yes.
your dial. Do
Yeah.
not close off your things because now we have somebody who drives me crazy every day, who I love more than life itself, who is just an absolutely wonderful person. She does, first of all, she's one of the nicest people I've ever met. Second of all, she has the biggest heart. And third of all, she helps anyone at any time. So our next presenter is Leah Armstead from the UK. Take it away, Leah.
you, Lynn. That's very sweet. I don't want to drive you crazy or anybody crazy.
You always drive me crazy, and you know you do, but I love you.
And you drive me crazy.
I know, but I don't say I don't. I know I do.
Oh my
You know I
God.
do.
It's a mutual. I live in the UK, and I have a PowerPoint presentation to offer along with just some comments. I'll go through it as quickly as I can so people can discuss. Taoufik, could you kindly
Yeah,
help me?
I'm doing it. I'm sharing it. Okay, go ahead.
So if I'm relying on Taoufik to put the
Good luck.
pages up there.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Anyway, hunger in Aberystwyth. This is where I live. Aberystwyth, by the way, I will send these notes to you of who have participated and who aren't able to be here today. So you can look at it more carefully. Okay.
Sure.
Hunger in Aberystwyth. What is the community doing to help? All right, first of all, hunger in Aberystwyth cannot be separated from what is going on in the UK. Since 2010, there has been a growing media and policy concern about material poverty in the UK, including hunger and the growth of food bank use and the COVID-19 pandemic, and all that has accelerated this change. This is due to many factors, including loss of jobs, family breakup, limitations and changes in state social security systems, very important. Untreated illness due to limitations on hospital treatment as a result of the pandemic. We have the National Health Service here, which should, brought in like the 1950s or something after the war, because so many impoverished, even famine had occurred here in the UK, famines, actual people in Wales, a very poor country, in fact. But it was a Welsh minister who instituted the NHS so that everybody could get medical help. That was the thing, and taxes would pay for it. And people were happy to do that. And it is a good system, but along comes people, I don't want to get political here, but governmental parties change, and then what we've seen is a growing Americanization in the sense of the medical system, more private use and so forth. And so that's actually means that you said you had, what was it, one doctor for 1,000 people. Sometimes we have here one doctor for 16,000. Okay, it's actually, I think, worse, but I can't believe it, but I know that it's interesting. All right, the next slide, if there is a slide.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What drives hunger in the UK? All right, you wouldn't think there would be hunger here, would you? But there still is, despite the welfare system or the, benefit system, whatever you want to call it. Each different countries, of course, use the word welfare in different ways, so it has to be, it's not really a very useful word in that regard. Economic need, not having enough money for food after essential bills have been paid. So people can be working full time, working all of the hours that God made, say for Amazon. I saw a documentary not long ago. Some of these Amazon workers are working 60-hour weeks and so forth, in the warehouse, trying to make ends meet, but they can't. So they have people living in tents close to work because they can't even pay to commute, who are short on food, and they have to use food banks. And so it's a situation you wouldn't think would happen to people who are working so hard here in the UK, where everyone was supposed to be able to have access to food through benefits. In any case, there's insufficient support from the social security network, as I said. Ill health or adverse life experiences such as household separation or eviction, which has increased in the pandemic since 2020. Lack of formal and or informal support, such as professional, family, friends, community networks. Okay, without the above, it can be impossible for individuals to navigate the benefit system. This can cause problems. I've seen it with my own eyes, where individuals fall through the net, and people, especially young people, which I'll show you in a second, but young people will be kicked out of their house, but not eligible to get any housing benefit because they have no place to live. In order to get benefit, you have to have an abode. So they don't have an abode, so they don't get benefit. You have to have an address. You don't have an address, you can't get benefit. So there's this vicious circle that has developed, and there are young people who are having a very terrible time, and not just that, more people than that. Around 700,000 households, including, this is the next slide, I'm sorry, the scale and profile of hunger in the UK. Around 700,000 households, including 320,000 children, used a food bank in 2019-20. That's pre-pandemic. People aged 16 to 24 who report high levels of food insecurity are, according to the study by the Trussell Trust, who runs, says webpage not available, but you will receive all of this information anyway.
Yeah, sure.
But,
I'm sorry, there is a technical problem with the PowerPoint.
Okay,
It's not, yeah, you
okay,
can.
well, I'll carry on. So people who 16 to 24 are rarely referred by agencies or anyone to food banks, and yet they have a growing number of this age group who are lacking, who are going homeless, who are being kicked out of their homes for one reason or another, and they can't get benefits, and so they also can't, they rely on since they can't get the benefits, they have to rely on the goodwill of agencies, of individuals, Disability was very common among households who were referred to food banks. 2 in 3 households referred to a food bank in early 2020 included one or more disabled people.
Wow.
So the very vulnerable are the ones most likely to get even more vulnerable by not being able to eat or nourish themselves properly. During the COVID-19 lockdown in spring 2020, everything closed down, people lost jobs. Food banks experienced an unprecedented growth, almost double in the need to use food banks, desperate for food, begging, etc. Prior to COVID-19, those referred to food banks were a very deprived group. The majority experienced 2 or more types of deprivation, including destitution, homelessness, and being severely food insecure. Extremely low income was a key factor behind this deprivation. In the UK, the expectation is that nobody should be homeless. Nobody should be without money. The benefit system should, that's what it used to be. Back in the 1980s, you might have heard of Margaret Thatcher. She was a prime minister here. She was, you might know this already, but she was called, well, by some people, Margaret Thatcher, the milk snatcher, because she stopped. There was free milk given to every child throughout throughout primary school, like ages 3, 4 to 11. Every child could have free milk. She stopped that. So, and she made it harder, and she was the first of many subsequent ministers who have actually been just cutting into that benefit system, making it harder and harder. Margaret Thatcher, the milk snatcher. Just take it away from the children. It's like taking a lollipop from a child, you know? So yeah, extremely low income. During COVID-19, more private renters, and by that over here, there is supposed to be social housing. And you're supposed to be able to, you know, when I say supposed, I mean by law, to get benefit so that you can have housing. Some kind of housing will be made available to you. Well, you know, the system is not working. This is not happening. People are not getting the benefit for a variety of reasons. They're falling through that net. And a private renter, by that I mean somebody who has a job and they pay for their rent, or somebody, or a family, somebody nice, you know, somehow they're paying for their own rent, they're paying for their own abode. That they're not social security, or you know, using, they call it using the social. Exactly. Is the term they say over here. They're not using the social. So more people during COVID-19, people born outside of the UK and Europe, people aged between 25 and 44, and couples with children, more of them used food banks than ever before. The next slide, if you can see it, shows that there was an increase in the number of children supported by a food bank in the Trussell Trust between 2018 and 2020. So I've pretty much told you what's all the pictures will show you, but I think it's very interesting, isn't it, that in early 2020, people with a disability, over 3 times more than in the general population, used food banks, because the disabled have had their benefits cut into their disablement benefits, just cut right down. They're trying to get rid of it. You know, you can work. I've known people to, well, people have committed suicide. This is a problem, or have become severely depressed, which is a problem again, because it's hard to get any kind of help. It's not always as easy as one might think, because there aren't enough doctors and more GPs are dropping out by the minute. And the problem is just getting worse and worse. It's kind of a disaster. And so, yeah, who's hungry? Young people. Children's brains are forming all the way up to the age of 25. If young people are not being nourished, their brains are not going to develop properly. By doing this, by cutting into the benefit system the way that they have left young people in a seriously precarious position. We have to nourish our children. Lone parents suffering very much. Ethnic minorities, what do we mean by that is a good question, but you know, we use terms like white, and then we use terms like whatever else you wish to say. I have a hard time with saying what we mean by, I think minorities is a good word to use. Who is not part of the, because you might say that there are minorities such as the LGBT, you know, the lesbian, bisexual, anyway, that community, the gay community, the trans community, they are a minority, and they are experiencing more and more levels of deprivation, not able to get work because they're becoming, especially certain members of that particular, you know, population of people, they are less likely to get employed. They're more likely, say, trans people, gender people are more likely to commit suicide, 40% more likely to commit suicide than the average general population. And they're also more likely to be unemployed. And they're also more likely to become sex workers because of this. not because they want to be sex workers, not because this is a choice, not because they're some kind of, weirdo or something, but because they simply can't get employed. When they can get employed and are accepted for who they are, because people are born these ways, it's not a choice. They don't choose to have a life like this. Who would choose it? Who would choose to have their family and their friends, and everyone rejects them? Lonely people, very high amongst just people who would class themselves as being lonely. Of course, the unemployed, and as I said, the disabled. I'm very concerned about these things, and I can tell you that I know from experience. The next slide is 6. It can show you some percentages of the, so you know what I mean now by social renters and private renters. So people, even who are working really hard, are having to use food banks.
Terrible.
On slide 7, it says, who's hungry? Well, as I am telling you, there's 3 illustrations, which you can see when you receive it. There are people who report poor health were 6 times more likely to be food insecure than people reporting excellent health. Those reporting being lonely are 10 times, if you say, if you report that you feel lonely, you're 10 times more likely to be food insecure than people who report being hardly ever or never lonely. And 42% of people referred to food banks in mid-2020 lived alone, very much on their own. In slide 8, it continues. Oops, sorry, I'm looking at my papers. In slide 8, it's I asked the question, well, which might come to your mind is, doesn't the UK have an effective welfare system? And the Trussell Trust discovered that food bank use resulting from low benefit income increased between 2018 and 2020. So people, even on benefit, getting all the benefits they possibly can, they still had to use food banks or rely upon the goodwill of agencies that can offer them food. They didn't have food to feed themselves or their children. This was the 4th year of a benefit freeze, a freeze of benefits that had already been cut.
Oh my God.
The fundamental design of the welfare system in the UK, rather than its operation, is a major obstacle to people, affecting who is eligible for support, how long it takes to get support, and how much support they receive. It's become harder and harder. The government has made it harder and harder and harder for anyone to get benefits, where it used to be rather, simple. There are students' tuition to university taken care of. You had, as I said, no one should be starving in the UK. Well, the whole thing, because of the cuts into this system, you have people now who are, unfortunately, starving. Clearly, in the slide 9, it shows a picture, if you can see it, of where Aberystwyth is in relation to the rest of the UK. Clearly, the benefit system, as it is set up, does not help everyone. All right, so it's just a fact. You have to say it is what it is. The benefit system is not helping everyone. In fact, it's hurting a lot of people. I know people with severe disablement who feel that they have to justify every year to some benefits doctor who is actually not looking towards their his or her motive is actually to get you off benefit. And they will say things like to a person who I do know somebody who is actually, you name the problem, she has it. Okay. I mean, seriously, she's had so many different organs taken out. She can't walk. She collapses. All of these things. She has to use a wheelchair. She's young, well-educated, but she's in a sense, probably in a life-limited illness, degenerative thing going on there. And it's just going to get worse. But she was actually asked by the benefits doctor, well, you know, you're young, you look like you could do something, you could get a job. She walks out, she tries to walk, she falls. And there aren't any jobs. There are not necessarily any jobs to be had. She can't work in the warehouse, putting some, things on the shelf. She can't work in the grocery, any kind of job that you think, well, maybe you could do shelving or you could do this or that. She can't, because for one thing, she also has mental fog. She because of her illness, she doesn't think properly. It goes on. I could tell lists of people come before my eyes as I speak. People suffering so very, very much. But anyway, people can make a difference, and that's where I get the hope. I like to believe in and know and remember that we can do something. There are individuals on a micro level who can share their food and or money with people they come across who are in need, and they do. It's like there's a line from a play by Tennessee Williams. I don't know if you've heard of it. The Streetcar Named Desire, and a character in it who's a very vulnerable young woman says, "I rely on the kindness of strangers," in her Southern voice, and relying on the kindness of strangers is a dangerous and precarious place to be, because sometimes people are kind and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they just pass you by, like Lynn's poem about the homeless. You can't depend upon the kindness of strangers. Sometimes people are very kind, and I think many of us dedicate our lives to being that, to kindness as a practice. But many people are either too busy trying to survive in a system. One of my daughters who lives here in the UK, the other one moved to Australia with her family there, husband and children. And but she works 60, 70 hours a week. Works too much, and it has affected her health. Clearly, the benefit system does not work for everyone. It's an important thing to know about the UK. All right. So local bands of people get together and establish a hub where food is made available. And I followed this with some things you can look at. There's Aber Food Surplus. I was there yesterday, and it's a fantastic place. Some of the things that some of you, I mean, Lynn and Kapil, you were talking about, they have actually done. It's a pioneering, not-for-profit social enterprise made up of volunteers focused on tackling food waste and delivering meaningful community change. I'm a member of it. We aim to tackle the root causes of problems and do this in a collaborative, creative, and constructive way. We are taking action on climate change and doing it now where we believe it can make a real difference in our local community. So it's what can we do? It's not like what can over here do or over there, but what can we do? Our vision is to facilitate Aberystwyth to become a zero food waste town, and in the process, provide empowering opportunities and build local food resilience. All right. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but we're working towards a more circular food system. So like the food surplus, people take barrels, they literally take barrels of waste that's collected from all of the things that are done with food in the food surplus shop area, kitchen. And they take barrels of whatever hasn't been used or has been, or the peelings or whatever waste has come from things. And they take it literally either on a bicycle, dragging behind them, or they walk it down to the local allotments. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Allotments, it's sort of local. Used to be people could get in a council list. It's very hard to get one now. And you get an allotment where you can actually do your own gardening. You get a nice piece of land, and you can only get it. You get it for your life once you get one. But as you can imagine, it's a very great demand for them now, and less land is used for it. However, food surplus does have a garden there, and there is a compost system going. So all of it's circular, So volunteers will go and pick up the waste plus the food bank stuff, but also the waste from various restaurants, various who are part of kind of participate in that sense, or even the grocery shops where they're going to throw stuff away, and if it looks good, and they were just going to throw it away anyway, and it's not by its sell-by date, they'll try to just use it, cook with it, give food to people. Or if it's really, down the tubes, you take it to the compost heap. But that's going like maybe walking or riding your bike about 2 miles with this great load of compost, or waste to the compost heap. At that point, you actually, manually create the machine, compost machine, which they've had donated to them by some people who gathered funds for this. And then that compost will be used for the organic garden that's also grown there. They have Seeds for Change, where there's actually a collection of seeds. They are collecting seeds of all kinds. And so they're also using the seeds in this garden. And then also making food with it, like Lynn was saying, and Kapil, I think everyone is on the same page when it comes to this circular thing. And actually yesterday, one of the volunteers was saying, who's been there for years, pretty much several years, has said that when the pandemic came along, we were, by law, you had to put put the hygiene liquid out, and blue paper, what do you call it? The hand paper. I can't think of the word right now.
Paper towels?
Paper towels, yeah. And they didn't, really, the group did not want to do that because they like to use environmentally friendly products at all times. So like the toilet paper there is recycled toilet paper that can also be recycled or composted. So they decided, well, at first they didn't want this stuff because it was not ecological. So they decided, hey, wait, we can compost it, and you can. So they're actually using that too. So anything that you can make use of that can go into compost goes. And so that's another way in which, every aspect of trying to eliminate your need for waste and then using waste. That's the whole point. People are encouraged to reduce their food waste at home And there's a forum where people can come and share their ideas for how to do so. The students, as you were talking about, Kapil, they have the Aber Food Co-op was actually started by students, as I told you. And then they, when the pandemic came and the university closed down, they moved down to the food surplus place, which gave them a home and gave them the time and place a day to do their organic vegetable thing that I told you about. So they grow it from seed, then everyone gets their hands dirty, and as does the food surplus group itself. So you've got two different gardens going there, and which is quite cool. You have the food banks stuff that's brought back by hand by volunteers, or by one person has a car, so he's able to use his car. But people that don't have cars have used bags and whatever to get it back. In fact, shopping trolleys, and felt like they were thieves because they used a shopping trolley to bring it all back to the shop. So a lot of hard graft going into it, you might say. Mm-hmm. People are being encouraged to make videos of recipes that use seasonal vegetables that are grown locally. So we're trying to help. What can we make? What kind of soup can we make out of this? What can we do with it? Sometimes you get too much bread. What can you do with it? Somebody would look for a recipe. So for those days when the food banks only turn up, or the looking for food from restaurants only turns up with fresh bread from the bakery, you can't give enough of it away, and so then you have this bread, and then you try to find ways to give it to the public. Basically, there's one guy, he goes out on the street, he'll say, "Come get some free food. Come get some free food." So the next page, try to go through this quickly. There's another. I really think that like some of the creative ideas that you mentioned, Lynn, they are implementing with drawing people in, getting them involved, a youth group, decorating, a mending group can meet there. They mend people's clothes. People can come in, and people who are good at sewing just mend for them their clothes for free. Giving clothes away type of days,
I think something happened to her sound.
Yeah, I see. She may be disconnected. Let's wait for just a while.
Okay. Well, I have to say that what we learned so far, since she isn't here yet, what we learned so far is a big deal. And we have to take what we learned and digest it so that we remember for the next time to, in fact, what I'm hoping for, the next thing I'm hoping for is that we will have a meeting, probably not this week, but the week after. Vinud and I will do poverty, and we'll get Kapil to say one or two words. And we're going to try to keep doing this so we can get more people off the couch and into society to do a better job than they've done. Yeah. I think that's the most important thing, and I think that Leah is gone.
Leah left. I guess she will come back. Yes, Lynn, you can.
Okay. So what I was saying is, what I'm finding the most interesting, and Leah and I have been talking about this all the time, is that they don't take care of seniors. Seniors are the people who bring you onto this earth. Now, the difference is, in your society, Kapil, and in Lynn's society, Lynn is in the same society as Vicky is in different societies are treated differently. Now, in your society, Kapil, what happens is that the children actually take part of taking care of their parents. The parents have taken care of them when they're little, and when they get bigger, so the expectation is that the children will now take care of the parents. So it's cyclical. In my society, Kapil, and in Vicky's society, it doesn't work like that. The children don't necessarily take care of the parents. They took everything they could possibly take, and then that's it. That doesn't mean every single child, but it does mean a good amount of children. Now, when I went to Morocco, before I met Taoufik, what I know, I stayed at a friend's house, and what I noticed is how his children were so not only complimentary to him, but so helpful. Nobody ever moved away from your parents. That's the difference. In America, kids don't even think twice about leaving home, going to New York, going here, going there, and not coming back because that they're following their own lives, which is just wonderful in a way, because you want to see your kids succeed, but not in places like Morocco and India. They stay there to take care of their parents. And what could be nicer than that? I don't see that much here. I don't see it here. I don't see they give you promises. Yeah, I'll take care of you when you're old and gray and you're falling apart. Where are they when you're not old and gray and falling apart? The point is to go, and even in Oman, they have such devotion to their families that to me, it's absolutely amazing how devoted they are.
Yeah.
So I don't see that in America. I see children moving to a different state. I see, maybe they'll come back and they'll visit you every 6 months. Or if you have a crisis, they're not there. And it's a rough thing. Yet in foreign countries like in Morocco and India, there's so much more caring. It's very family oriented. And to me, in any place I went in Morocco, there are things about Morocco I loved. Just to say, there are things in the United States I love. The thing I don't like about the United States is that children don't feel the need to be part of their parents. If the parents are going through something, I don't see anybody there. Yeah, they're just okay. They'll figure it out. Yeah, you're gonna do it. No, I'm concerned about you, but I'm not here. So what's the difference? You're not concerned if you're not there.
Yeah.
But in Morocco and India, you are concerned because you're there to take care of your parents, and Oman too.
Yeah.
And that your society, Kapil, is a lot better than mine that way.
Yeah.
In
I
that
see.
case, it is.
Yeah, I can add something here for to what Lynn just mentioned. It is I have been here almost 4 years. I like the country. I like the people. It's some way better than my Morocco, which I miss. But there is more selfishness and
A lot of selfishness.
let me say most of Americans who I do respect doesn't care for not only for but inside the small family. I mean, I couldn't feel that coming from another culture, and that doesn't mean that we are perfect in Morocco, not at all. But concerning this family spirit, concerning the overall culture, there were a lot of things that I didn't like. Not only me, but most of people who, American who flew to other countries, who visit other countries. It's really, it's a dark side of America. Okay, I don't mean that America is totally dark side, but yes, Lynn, you're right in this. Yeah, and even I will say that, and I mean it, and I'm not negative. There was still a lot of racism here.
100%.
Let me explain. It happens to me that when I go out for volunteering in the deli, in the cafe, in everywhere. When I first come here, I didn't care because I didn't know the real truth about the culture. But till now, some places I feel the bad feeling that I am, rejected. And I understand it's not a stuff about, rejecting others, but America's culture and America history went through that a long time ago. And as you know, we are all here, especially I like New York, whatever. People are in New York, there is almost 120 ethnicities, or let me say, countries living here in America. And what makes New York better than other states? I will mention the South. In the South, I have never been there. Lynn told me, and it's worse. But in New York, we are good in comparing with other states. So my point is that you're right, Lynn. There was a lot of things that doesn't respond or doesn't say what we find in mass medias, what we found even in other countries. Believe they all think that America is number one. America is freedom. America is
selfish.
Education. It's not true. To say it straight away. Okay. Yes, Lynn. Just
America is a very selfish society. Well, it looks like Leah isn't coming back. But Kapil, I want to thank you very much for your presentation. I'm asking you to get me those colleges. You know, I'm not going to I wanted 3 classes. That's it. One.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm asking for 3 universities, dear. I'm asking for 3 different classes.
Colleges. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for your presentation. I learned a lot. Leah isn't here, and I'd like to thank Leah. I'd like to thank Taoufik for his effort in getting this together. Now let's let these people get out and let them have a good day. Thank you for sticking with us. And Lynn's Kids is always here. If you want to contribute to Lynn's Kids for anything that we do, just go on to TaufikLynn'sKids.com. And you can contribute. I think we have to call
Priyanka, she muted herself. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Priyanka.
Go ahead.
What I could actually, it was little surprising to me that even the developed countries like UK and US have a little bit similar problems like ours. So hunger is basically a universal issue.
Yes, it
and
is.
The situation is also universal, be it a developing or a developed country. So this was little shocking that even after having so much of so many government schemes and so much of social security that the developed countries have, still the population, the common people are actually suffering the same way as they are suffering in the developed countries. So this was little shocking to me. So I really thank you for starting or initiating discussions on such topics. So this was a really a shocking thing for me, right now. So it was really good to discuss with everyone that what we can definitely do into this.
Yes, I will add something before closing. We are all one, God created us to communicate, to be together. And every country has its ups and its downs. So that happens. And we are so glad that we have these technological tools to internet, which makes us
actually true.
Oh my God. Okay, Lynn, you can close this meeting.
Okay, I want to thank the beautiful Joshi family. I want to thank Leah, who's not here, and thank Taoufik for being here. And making this happen, because I am not technological. I can go on to Amazon.
No problem. We can do it.
I can go into Amazon and buy anything. I'm a shopaholic, but I cannot do this stuff with him, with the Zoom and the Poom. Years ago, we didn't have this. We didn't talk to people. You want to get on the phone and you want to talk to people, not Zoom. But okay, it brings us together.
Without Zoom, you couldn't express yourself.
And Priyanka, we're going to talk in Messenger one day soon about when you're going to do your next one, because I loved your workshop.
Before that, just talk about Priyanka, last session about pet telepathy. I'm working on, and it will be ready maybe in 2 days. So it will be different than all others. That doesn't mean that I favor Priyanka or anyone.
Yes, he does. I know he does. Priyanka this and Priyanka that. No, Priyanka everything. You're right. Adopted you. He adopted you.
Yeah, I adopted you.
Glad to know that.
I am happy.
Yeah, she's Kapil.
Okay.
She's
Look at,
Kapil's
why
woman.
wouldn't she be smiling? She has a gorgeous husband. Look how gorgeous.
Yeah,
Okay, so
I
I'm
agree
gonna
to that.
send her-
Kapil's beloved one, and
Right.
feels so great to communicate with
Same
these
here.
lovely
Okay,
couples.
everyone. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank
We took
you.
enough time, and we will see each other online soon. Love you
Sure.
all. Bye.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Thank
Bye,
you,
take
Taufik,
care.
Lynn. It was lovely.
Bye.
And
You
Leah.
I'll get those. I'm going to be checking with you every day and torturing you. Get those.
Yeah,
pieces.
I'll be sending the PPT to Gordon with you
Good.
and copy. Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing
Yes.
the same for Leah's Pepe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Sure.
Love you
Thanks
all.
very
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you. Love you all.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Have a
Bye.
great
Thank you
day.
so much.